Hello and welcome to episode 238 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
That was rough.
Yeah.
So we are continuing talking about colors today.
So many colors.
So many colors. It's a beautiful rainbow, as Gavin would say. As we use rainbow duct tape to hold his diaper closed so he doesn't take it off at night. Yeah. It's a beautiful rainbow.
Look at that.
Yeah, so today we're talking black. So if you want to reach out to us with show ideas, we're kind of getting back into the swing of like standard getting cards here in like a month and things of that sort. But if you have ideas for shows in the meantime or things you're interested in hearing about, you can reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord,
X.
Elon forever. Discord is probably where we're most active.
Yeah. I think we both answer those more than anything else. But yeah, hit us up wherever you feel comfortable, and we'll do our best to answer your questions, or if we like your idea for a show, we'll do an episode about it. That's where this episode came from. So we definitely listen to you guys, what you want to hear we talk about. Like Brian said, we're talking about black today. And also, like Brian said, we're coming up on the end of our like stretch of content drought or whatever, where there's no regular releases. So we will soon have regular releases. I believe as soon as I get back from vacation, there will be spoilers. So we can start talking about mechanics maybe when I get back. We'll see what happens.
And then we'll go to like 2 set releases in the fall/winter. We'll just be like right back at it.
So yeah, hit us up with anything else you guys want to hear about. We'll probably have a couple of free weeks in there somewhere, and I do want to finish this series up, but anything you guys want to hear, let us know. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Follow that link on over to TCG player, and at no additional cost to you, we will get a percentage of whatever you purchase that will help keep the show going, keep our lights on, keep us doing what we're doing. We would greatly appreciate that. It doesn't cost you guys a penny. Easy to do. If you guys are looking to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. Patrons get access to our pre-show. Super exciting. Another hour of content out of us just for the patrons. It's always funny when I see people talking about the pre-show in Discord. It gives me a chuckle. I don't know why, but it does. Patrons also get access to our show notes, so you get a sneak peek about what the show's going to be about. And when I have swag to send out, you get put on my mailing list. Probably September-ish, I'll send another round out. But patrons, if there's any tokens you want, now's the time where I got to start making them. So let me know. Let me know what you want.
Did we do a Goblin Shaman already?
I did not.
Right?
No, I didn't do a Goblin Shaman.
That's an $8 token.
Alrighty then.
Goblin Shaman. He won the Pro Tour.
Yeah, this is true. I'll have to make a note of that real quick so I don't forget.
So a Goblin Shaman and like a new food.
Oh yeah, new food too.
Yeah. Because I would use a goblin shaman in my legacy deck, because my current Goblin Shaman is a 2/2 is a 1/1 M15 goblin that I just wrote shaman underneath goblin and then made it a 2/2 with a Sharpie.
Is Electromancer a shaman?
I think he's a wizard.
Oh, probably. That makes more sense.
Could be wrong, but I think he is more
also,
wizardy than he is
super against
shamany.
The rules to use an actual card as a token. So
yeah,
What about Goblin Wizardry? Oh, those probably make wizards also, huh? All right, never mind.
And they have prowess.
Yeah, true. But yeah, anyways, if any tokens you guys want, let me know so I can get the next round ready to go. If none of that sounds appealing to you, you can also just support the show. If you like the content that we make and want to show your appreciation or want to help us keep the show afloat, you can chip a couple bucks in, however much you think we're worth. The tiers are there, but they don't really mean anything. They're just there because Patreon makes you put them there. So yeah, That's Patreon. Support us there. I told you about the affiliate link. I don't think I have anything else. You want to jump into the show?
Yeah, and real quick, but
Oh.
sometimes my students think it's cool that I have patrons.
Yeah.
I mentioned the podcast. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, we have this many listeners, and we have patrons.
We have patrons.
Yeah, that's right.
We have the best patrons.
Yeah, that's right. I'm in on this internet economy. I'm not even selling feet pics yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Although we did have a pants discussion the other day, right?
Yeah. The $50 tier is we get standing desks.
Yep.
Let me show you what we're wearing when we record the pod. All right, so we're gonna do black today. Same breakdown we've had. So we're starting with the creature types. So what are like the classic black creatures?
Well, obviously we have zombies. That's one thing that's mainly black, although I guess blue gets some zombies once in a while too. They're different zombies though. I don't know if you remember in Innistrad, they kind of differentiated like necromantic zombies versus like Frankenstein zombies, like stitched zombies. And
blue get stitched zombies.
Yeah. The science zombies are blue and the dead zombies are black.
Gotcha.
I don't know, like, is there another minor creature type that is black?
The only thing that I thought of looking at your list was vampire. Like, I know vampires are also in red.
And white.
But, like, oh, yeah. Well, I almost don't count that because that's just from Ixalan. But, like,
Edgar Markov is white. Welcoming Vampire is white.
But I feel like that started in Ixalan. Like I just think like vampire, like singular vampire. Like I kind of like.
Oh, okay,
put that together as like black gets vampires.
Yeah.
Right. Like what's his name? Baron Singier. Black vampire. Like those are like. But you are right. Like it has bled into other colors.
Yeah.
But it was for the longest time like kind of the domain of like black and red.
Yeah.
And like initially just black. But yeah, that's the only other one I could think of that was like, oh hey, this is kind of maybe a kind of a black focused creature type.
Yeah.
But the other one, definitely black.
Demons.
Like
are there any demons that aren't black?
I don't
there's
know.
multicolored demons, but I don't think there's any actual demons that don't have black in them.
Creature type is demon. Search. There's 181.
It's like Rakdos has demons.
Oh, there's a red one. Balor from like a commander product.
Okay.
There's a couple red ones.
Okay.
That are just only red. There's 4 of just so there's a blue-red demon from some Universes Beyond thing.
Oh, that's weird.
Is
it a demon?
There's a Bant demon. Falco. The bird demon from Streets of New Capenna.
Interesting.
Like
okay.
Falco Spara, Pact Weaver.
Okay.
Is a bird demon. But of the vast majority are black.
Yeah.
There are a few like random red ones.
Yeah.
And here's a random blue one again from a Universe Beyond.
Universes Beyond ruining all the fun.
Oh. Jetmir is a cat demon.
It's also a demon. Okay.
I guess know that.
that kind of makes sense in New Capenna because like everything's a demon, right? It was angels versus demons, and then
I guess, yeah.
The angels are all statues now, so all that's left is demons.
Yeah, so there's a few, but like the vast majority are black.
Yeah. They started black though. There was demonic hordes. Yeah, Lord of the Pit.
Was Lord of the Pit from Alpha?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So was demonic hordes.
Oh, it was?
Yep.
Okay.
3 black. 5/5. Tap it, destroy a land. Got to sacrifice a land every turn.
I thought you had to pay a cost, or
maybe you paid a cost or sacrificed a land.
Here's pay black, black, black during your upkeep, or it becomes tapped and you put a land over, or you sacrifice a land of an opponent, or you and you lose a land of opponent's choice.
Where did it go?
This is they got reworded to sacrifice a land.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
You get forgetful. Where did your land go?
Oh my gosh, where's my land?
Yeah.
Where is my alpha swamp? I don't know.
In a box. I should probably sell that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good one to get into the ditch. But yeah, so demon is kind of the quintessential, like, typically big black creature.
Yep.
A hallmark of black creatures, demons in particular, is there's typically some sort of drawback.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really big, but a bad thing happens. So, like, Abyssal Persecutor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 6/6 flying trampler for 4, but you can't win the game when your opponent can't lose the game as long as I'm here.
Right.
Or then like Archfiend of the Dross, great big,
Yep.
but it puts you on a clock.
Yep. That's kind of a theme in black, though. Yes, it ties to demons, but just like black in general, one of the, and again, you know, we talked about it last week. I don't want to get too far into like the philosophy of what the colors are trying to do. We're just talking like mechanicals, but black is very much about like power at a cost. So you will get some sort of advantage, but it's going to cost you. And that's
some would say greatness at any cost.
Greatness at any cost. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Yep.
So yeah, it was another, or like, you know, another black thing is like you can pay life to get a thing. So like Rasakath was like pay 3 life and like some mana and go search your deck for anything.
Yep. Necropotence.
Necro, yeah.
Pay life, fill your hand up.
Grizzlebrand.
Gristlebrand.
Pay some life, do more than fill your hand up.
Gristle Daddy.
Overfill your hand.
That's right.
All right. So what are the strengths of black? What does black do really well?
Black gets to kill things. That is probably what it does best, is just kill stuff. Kills creatures outright, kills planeswalkers outright. Sometimes there's a drawback if it's costed aggressively enough. Most of the time it just kills stuff. Kills it dead.
Yes. So where like we talked about, like white will often like kill a thing but then feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It'll be like Fateful Absence.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh hey, well I'll let you draw a card later, or oh gosh, Path to Exile. Like I guess I'll let you get a land.
Yeah. Well, white also doesn't just kill. I mean, except for Fateful Absence, but yeah, white tends to exile or like do the damage thing, like damage equal the number of creatures you control or attacking creatures or whatever. Whereas black is just like, nope, kill the thing.
Yeah, like black is like always like a pure 1-for-1. Like I'm going to remove this thing from the battlefield and put it in your graveyard.
Yep.
Every so often you get exile in black. Sometimes the common black removal spell like exiles.
Yeah.
We had Vraska's Contempt, which exiles. But I often think that it's like that happens when like there are things in the format that demand exile.
Right.
That like, okay, like we made a bunch of indestructible things. Now black's bad. We need to make the black like rare removal spell exile this set.
Yeah.
So removing creatures 1-for-1, planeswalkers as well. They've moved a lot recently, and you see this in black and red in particular, to a lot of things that like would normally just like kill a creature or deal damage to a creature. Now say or planeswalker on them.
Yeah.
To just give a little bit more coverage. Like I keep waiting on the instant speed Dreadbore to like replace Terminate kind of deal.
I mean, we had was it Bedevil? That was another mana, but also tagged artifacts.
Yeah. But like somewhere in there where they're just like, you know what, we should probably make Terminate say or Planeswalker on it.
Yeah.
Instantly
make Terminate obsolete.
Yes.
I should probably get off of my foil.
Yes.
I got a foil OG Terminate.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Another thing that is exclusively, I think, the like realm of black is like targeted discard.
Yeah, I was just
Like
gonna say targeted discard.
like red will make you can make your opponent draw and then discard it like random or something.
Mhm.
But black is like, let me look at your hand and take a
No,
card out of it, or I'm gonna pay some mana and you're going to lose 2 cards
right.
from your hand. So him and like Mind Rot are the like, I target you, put some cards in the graveyard, either at random or your choice.
Mhm.
And then there's Thoughtseize, Inquisition,
Yeah.
uh LOTV. Oh gosh.
Liliana the Veil.
Veil, okay.
Yeah.
But like Thoughtseize Inquisition,
Yeah.
where you're like, look at your hand, and like now these are typically at 2 mana, but look at your I look at your hand and I take something
Yeah.
either like conditioned or like or just non-land.
Mhm.
Right? Some like duress is non-creature.
Right.
Divest is creature
Mhm.
or artifact.
Yeah.
Um and then like Lily is again kind of like the mind rot or like hymn to rock thing of like you get to kind of like pick one, but it goes away.
Yeah. Lily also kind of segues nicely into the next thing that black does,
Mm-hmm.
which is sacrifice.
Yes.
Whether it's you sacrificing for a cost or making your opponent sacrifice something. Black doesn't care what gets sacrificed as long as the price is paid, right?
Mm-hmm. So we get Chainer's Edict, which is well, we should go all the way back. You get Diabolic Edict,
Yep.
which is why these effects are often called edicts.
Yep.
Right. Then we got Chainer's Edict.
Mm-hmm.
Sorcery speed Diabolic Edict that has flashback for 5 black.
Yeah, 7 mana, I think.
Yeah. And then like the new one, Shieldred's Edict, which might be the best of the bunch because
Yeah.
it like lets you pick. So it used to just be sacrifice a creature.
Right.
And then you'd be like, oh, I make a dorky little token. I guess I'll sacrifice my dorky little token. And now you can be like, no.
Non-token.
I said non-token. Or like I made my Merit Lage and you cast Diabolic Edict and you're like, fetch a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
Sack my Dryad Arbor.
No.
And I was like, no.
Token.
I said token.
Yeah.
Right. So like it is an edict, but it is also like more targeted than they used to be with like Shieldred's Edict.
Yep.
We also there is, I don't know if we have it on here. I didn't look at the notes. Okay. There are a few cards that are kind of like bleeding into black's color identity, which get rid of enchantments. And some of those
just the one though, right?
I think there's like 2 that sacrifice an enchantment.
Oh, okay.
I think. And then there is like, but like same kind of thing. Like, and you were telling me that like, well, if you pay high enough cost in black, like you can
basically do anything.
Do anything, yeah.
Except for artifacts. Black doesn't deal with artifacts.
There is okay. Well, so there's. I take this back. So there's Baleful Beholder sacrifices an enchantment. It's a creature.
Mm-hmm. Expensive though, right?
6 mana. Yeah. Invoke Despair.
Okay.
Extract the Truth. Farika's Libation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot about that card.
Yeah.
I forgot that card even existed.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I forgot that Extract the Truth existed.
Yeah.
Mire and Misery, which is from Commander 19, is each opponent sacrifices a creature or enchantment.
Okay.
So there are a few things that like black has one targeted like enchantment removal spell, and the rest of them are sacrifice effects.
Right. And again, they're not on my list here in our show notes, but we were talking about black making deals and trading for power, and sacrifice also plays into that, where you know sacrifice a creature when it comes into play, or sacrifice a creature every upkeep, or Deadly Dispute, sacrifice a creature to draw some cards. Village Rights, kind of same deal, sacrifice a creature to draw some cards, where you're trading your creatures for things, sacrificing them. The other thing that black gets to do in the sacrifice space is the like Fleshbag Marauder. There's a couple different versions of it now. Merciless Executioner was the one from Cons, and then we had like the Plague Bearer from War.
Yes, that's like creature or planeswalker.
Yeah. So,
and these are all like 3-mana creatures that enter, and then each player sacrifices a creature.
Yep.
And so it can be a 3-mana, it sacrifices itself, or it stays around and you're able to get rid of a 1/1 or a thing you would have wanted to sack for value anyway.
Right.
Like, oh, I'll get rid of my Doom Dissenter.
Yeah.
And make a 2/2 zombie.
zombie.
I was going to say Doom Traveler, but that's white.
That's white.
So yeah, so it has a lot of like sacrifice things. I think we've mentioned all of these, and we also have Lily of the Veil, as you mentioned, but we forgot about the pox, small pox, and just pox.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I was just reminded of that pox was a card when we were in Discord the other day too.
Yeah, so small pox, like black. Each player sacrifices a land, a creature,
discards a card,
and like loses life. And then what is there's like 1 black. Each player sacrifices a creature, and they're usually played in like black control decks that have no creatures.
Innocent Blood?
Yes, Innocent Blood.
Yep.
Right. So there's a lot of like symmetrical sacrifice.
Well, I mean, there's like actual pox too.
Actual pox, which is just black.
Yeah, black. Every player loses a third of their life, a third of their creatures, a third of their lands.
Yeah, it's a fun card.
Yeah.
It involves math and not playing the game anymore.
Correct.
So much fun. But like a card like Innocent Blood, you're trying to like break the symmetry, either not have creatures or have like a Cauldron Familiar you can get back, or that stupid bat that goes and like searches, that goes and like learns a lesson.
Yeah.
Or Shambling Ghast. Yeah, I Twitch. Or like Shambling Ghast, where I got a treasure out of it, or I killed the thing you didn't sack.
Yeah.
And then black gets conditional sweepers.
I mean, it gets non-conditional sweepers too. It doesn't. So the sweepers typically aren't as efficient as they are in white. Like way back in Alpha, white had Wrath of God, and that kind of set the bar for what a sweeper is. Black, like you said, either they have conditions on them or something. They cost more. Yeah, they cost more. Some reason why they're usually not quite as good. Although, like, black also has Damnation, which is just black Wrath of God.
Yes, color shifted Wrath of God.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get like the Infest type cards, which seemingly there's one in every standard, maybe 2, and it's usually like 1 black, give all creatures -2 with set mechanics stapled on it.
Yeah.
So we've seen like, is it Golden Demise that had the City's Blessing and they only shrunk your creatures?
Yep.
We've had them with Scry on it. Drown in Sorrow.
Yeah. Cry of the Carnarium exiled.
So like they always just have like, I forget what the malfunction one was in Kamigawa.
Oh yeah.
Pestilent Haze that was like -2 to all creatures, or each planeswalker loses 2 loyalty. Like looking out for you.
That's right.
So like a little bit smaller than like the 3-mana the 3-mana red effects, like your Anger of the Gods, your Sweltering Suns, but can like pick off an indestructible thing or something.
Yeah, and like that's another thing. We're still talking about sweepers here, but just as like a quick aside, because it's not anywhere else on the list. I don't think there's any other colors that deal in like shrinking creatures. Well, I guess blue shrinks power, but like black will just shrink a creature to nothing. like neg 1, neg 1, neg 4, or whatever. Languish is a sweeper that doesn't deal damage and doesn't destroy creatures. It gets neg 4 to everything. So it's another thing that black gets to play with that the other colors really don't. I can't think of like any other color that shrinks toughness. Can you?
No.
Although I guess red can like you have like Soulscar
Mage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like not just like on a card you
Right.
get neg X. I guess there was like some like bad green like plummet that was something sting that was like flying creatures get neg 1 counters. Like
Oh, okay.
it was like 1 green. It was from Amonkhet.
Oh, I mean that set was about neg 1
counters. But yeah, that is like definitely a black thing. And then there's Witch's Vengeance where you like pick a creature type and it's like that creature type gets shrunk. And then there's another one that's like,
well, Witch's Vengeance is creatures that aren't that type get shrunk, aren't they?
Okay. And then there's one that's like pick a creature type, those get shrunk. That's another. And they were like legal at very close to the same time.
Yeah.
And then Damnation, Blood on the Snow, which like because it like got to reanimate something, got to see some play. Crux of Fate.
Either killed all the dragons or all the not dragons.
And then there was what are they called? The battle. It was like kill all legendaries or kill all non-legendaries.
Yeah.
Or you could kind of do both.
Yeah.
You could get everything or like pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like for the most part, the black sweepers are typically minus X to minus X.
Or super conditional or expensive.
Yeah.
I mean we also had things like is it In Garrick's Wake was like 7 mana, like just killed everything.
Maybe.
And Extinguish All Hope, I think, was 6 mana, destroy all non-enchantment creatures.
Yes, that is now a common.
It's now a common. Yep.
That is going in my cube.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't.
In Garrick's Wake was M15, I think.
Okay, I'm looking because like I don't. Yeah, there
like
it is.
5
It
black,
is
black.
9 mana.
9
Destroy all
mana.
creatures you don't control.
Yeah.
And all planeswalkers you don't control. It just got them all.
And that was another card also. I don't remember what the other card was though. Destroy all creatures you don't control. Super expensive though.
Super expensive, yeah. All right, so then we have like life leeching or like drain effects. Like you gain a life, your opponent loses a life.
Yeah, typically black can't deal damage. Like red gets
Lightning Bolt, deal 3.
Well, I was gonna say Lava Spike because that's at a player. Black doesn't get traditionally. I mean, like Bump in the Night, I guess is kind of that, but black doesn't get deal 3 damage to a player. Instead, it gets like target player loses 3 life. And then sometimes it'll also be you gain 3 life or, a symmetrical drain gain. But it also does it on things that aren't just like a one-time shot. Things like Blood Artist, whenever a creature dies, an opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Black also gets lifelink, like from the vampires. So kind of the same thing. You deal damage, you gain life. And all the way back in Alpha, we had Drain Life, which was you drained your opponent for 1 for each black mana you spent on top of the casting cost of the spell.
Was it black? Was it black and X? It had to be black mana?
It was 1. No, it was 1B was the casting cost. And then it was for each black mana you spent when casting, or in addition to casting this spell, I think. It was templated weird because they're...
Oh, so the way you write it now is spend only black mana on X. Okay.
Oh, so it's X1B?
It is X1B.
Yeah. And
then spend only X on only black on X. I forgot the only spend black mana part of it.
Well, they must have like errated it or changed the templating or whatever, because there used to not be an X in the casting cost. It used to just be 1B.
Oh yeah, drain life, The alpha is drain life does 1 damage to each single target for each B spent in addition to the casting cost. Caster gains 1 life for each damage inflicted.
Ooh,
If you drain life from a creature, you cannot gain more life than that creature's toughness.
Really? That's weird.
That is what it says. And it's still there. So now it's like to any target. There you go.
Yep. Do you think of anything else that drains, or did that about cover it? I mean, there's a bunch of Blood Artist effects.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Like at all costs on the mana curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so black often pairs well with white because white is oftentimes about like gaining life, and then black will reward you for gaining life by damaging your opponent.
Yeah.
Or like by increasing that life gain or giving you counters or something.
Yeah. Was
So,
that
like,
Veto? Was the
there's Veto that like increases it. There's the oh gosh, the like 3/2 like 2 and a black like cleric from Zendikar Rising.
Yeah, what was
That
I don't
like
remember the name.
Malakir
Blood Witch?
whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But like, I gain life, so now this deals you 1 damage.
Yeah.
Where like it'll oftentimes break up the drain and make it so like if you gain life over here, you're gonna get the drain over here.
Right.
You're gonna get the point of damage over here, as opposed to like Blood Artist, it's all together in 1 card.
Yeah. 1 trigger.
1 trigger, yes. And then black gets evasion.
Well, I mean, every color gets some sort of evasion. I just meant like the kind of evasion that black gets isn't. I mean, black does get flying, but typically black gets death touch as a form of evasion, where like your opponent either has to trade with a creature or it has evasion, or menace is another thing that black does. And like menace is kind of a new iteration too. There was a whole bunch of different forms of the same mechanic previous to now.
Yeah, there was fear, where you could only be blocked by black or artifact creatures because the other colors were scared of your creature.
Ooh.
There was intimidate, which was kind of the same thing. It was like, could they only be blocked by creatures of the same color?
Yeah.
Because like fear was very specifically black.
Yeah.
Where intimidate, like there were goblins that had intimidate that were red, so they could only be blocked by red things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has kind of gone away for menace.
Yep.
But yeah, like menace is like kind of a main black.
Yeah, black and red, I think, but mainly black. And black does get flyers too, but more so they get death touchers and menace than flyers. Their flyers also tend to be. I mean, there are good black flyers, but they tend to be like just kind of bodies. Things like Putrid Imp or the one I Twitch, the one you were just talking about earlier. There's some vampires and stuff that fly, but and of course like the demons and the big vampires fly, but typically the just typical black like flying creatures aren't the best.
You kind of get like little nerdy like limited ones. Like I have a 3/1 flyer that trades with like any flyer. And then you get like the great big thing that has some sort of weird drawback.
Yeah.
Like I was cheat, but I also like give them a blood whenever a creature dies. And that can be good or that can be bad.
Yeah.
And then black has necromancy or just general graveyard shenanigans.
General graveyard shenanigans, yeah.
So you have raise dead.
All the way back in alpha.
Oh, and that's just like put a card back in your hand put a creature back in your hand from the graveyard.
Right.
Usually for like a black is the going rate.
Now it is. I mean, raise dead was 3 mana.
1 and a black. Was it 3 mana?
Yeah, it was 2 and a black.
Oh Jesus! All right. And then like reanimating things or turning them into zombies when you reanimate them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Though I know he's blue and black, but like Scarab God turned stuff into black zombies when they came back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
Reanimate the OG, a black, return something from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then like
I mean,
damages.
the OG is Animate Dead.
Oh yeah, because reanimate was
Tempest?
Stronghold?
Stronghold? Yeah, one of those.
Tempest. I think it was Tempest. Yeah. And then animate dead. So like we kind of get the 5-mana version is kind of the go-to.
Yeah.
You every so often get a 4-mana one.
Yep.
But like for standard purposes, they like to stick it at 5.
Yeah, it can get dangerous otherwise.
Yeah. And then like you have we have a whole like group of creatures that are from the modern times that are like, I am a 2/1 and I will somehow come back from the graveyard.
Well, I mean, that's not just from the modern times. These things went all the way back to Alpha. Nether Shadow was in Alpha.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the 1-mana 2/1 like Gravecrawler.
Yeah.
You have Bloodsoaked Champion.
Yeah.
There's
Gutter Bones.
Gutter Bones is a Dread Return, not Dread. There's one that's only if you're Hellbent.
Oh yeah.
There's a 2/1 that like only if you have like one or less cards or 2 or less cards in your hand. It's from Amonkhet.
Yeah.
Like
Dread
there's
Wanderer.
a whole bunch of those. Dread Wanderer. There we go. Shred something. And then there's all the crappy skeletons.
Yeah, the ones that are like 3 mana, put it in your hand, or
3 mana, put it back on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Like the things, and they like oftentimes they'll come into play tapped.
Yep.
Or they'll come into play and they can't block.
Mm-hmm.
Like was it Marauding Skeleton? The one that was like in the straight jacket that like came into play tapped and was like, this limited game is going to take forever now because it's going to chump block my thing every other turn.
I think it's Sanitarium Skeleton.
Sanitarium Skeleton, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they get those.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, general graveyard shenanigans. Exiling things from graveyards.
Yep.
Goodness. Surgical. What is the...
Extraction?
The Surgical Extraction, but then there's the one that's a single black with Escape. Cling to Dust.
Cling to Dust, yep.
That's another one that sees play. Extirpate. Like
Graveyard Trespasser.
Mm-hmm. So where they like try to keep your opponent from doing a thing with their graveyard.
Yeah. Also, like preventing cards from going to graveyards. Like Kalitas does that.
Kalitas.
Leyline of the Void. Yeah.
Like neither of those cards do anything to the cards currently in the graveyard. They just stop cards from going there.
Right.
Yeah, but all things kind of like graveyard. Typically the in and out of creatures, you don't have like in and outs of other things.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. And then we get card advantage in black. It does it all.
It does it all. Usually card advantage in black comes at a loss of life in particular. I know when we started talking about this, you mentioned Bob. Bob is the epitome of black's philosophy for card draw. You can draw a card, but it's going to cost you.
And I'm sure we've gone over this before. Bob is Dark Confidant.
Yes.
And it's named Bob because it's Bob Maher won one of the whatever it was.
Invitationals.
It was an invitational.
Yeah.
And when you got to design your own card, much like PV designed his card and got like his likeness on it.
Yep.
Like he was one of the first and like probably the best for a long time because I know like whatever Avalanche Riders and a couple things came before it, but like that's the one that you're like, oh yeah,
Sylvan Safekeeper.
Sylvan Safekeeper, but like Bob is the one that you're just like, oh yes, Bob.
Well, I think Bob's the only one. Well, Snapcaster.
Snapcaster saw a lot of play.
Yeah, I mean you don't. Bob is called Bob though. Like none of the others are like actually referred to as the name of the player who.
Every so often, someone will say like we'll call Elite Spellbinder just PV.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Bob is the only one that we just were like, well,
it's Bob.
Magic people were like, that's Bob.
Yeah.
So, and the flavor text is greatness at any cost because you flip over cards and you take you lose life equal to the converted
cost.
mana cost.
Yep.
Sorry.
Black also gets things like Read the Bones, where it's 3 mana, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Night's Whisper is 2 mana, does the same thing. I guess Read the Bones scries and Night Whisper doesn't, but seems like every set that's designed for limited has some sort of this effect in it. What was the one from Dominaria? Shadow something or other?
There's Shadow Prophecy, but I don't think it deals you damage. There's a Dark Bargain.
Shadow Prophecy does.
It does?
I'm pretty sure.
Black
doesn't just draw, like, Black wouldn't get just Divination.
Let's see. Shadow. Why did I get this in Spanish?
Nobody expects
no,
Spanish
you're right.
Inquisition.
You're right. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types, and then you lose 2 life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Why did I get the Spanish one? Like, what did I got no beef with Spanish language. I just can't read it. I can barely read English language. Yeah. So again, like, you kind of get cards at, like, remember Painful Truths? Like, you could, like, if you spent 3 different types of mana, you could draw 3 cards, but you would lose 3 life.
Yep.
And then another thing that is, like, kind of exclusively a Black thing is unrestricted tutors.
Yeah. All the way back in Alpha, we had Demonic Tutor.
Yeah, and now that's too good. We get a lot of 4 mana tutors, Diabolic Tutor, Mastermind's Acquisition.
Yep.
We did get Grim Tutor.
Yep.
That's like the 3 mana one, but they're typically 4 mana. But you get to get anything you want.
Yep. Other colors can get them, but they're limited to things they're good at. Like we mentioned, White got Idyllic Tutor. Lets you go get an enchantment. White's good at enchantments, so it's only limited to enchantments. But yeah, Black can get anything.
Yeah.
Anything it wants.
Yeah, and like the 4 mana ones typically don't have a downside.
Right.
Like Grim Tutor is like you lose 3 life.
Yeah. Demonic Tutor doesn't have a downside.
It does not. But like they're never printing Demonic Tutor again. Like in like a standard legal, so like, it's not gonna find its way into Modern.
No.
Like it's not even legal in Legacy.
Correct.
And then we've got like this making deals for resources. Like giving up your creatures for stuff, giving up your life for stuff.
Yep.
It's always, again, like a deal with the devil, if we want to be like the flavor guys.
Deal with a demon.
Yeah, deal with a demon. If you
Demon's
have 4
bargain.
deals with demons, we find out that, like, in the deep cut MTG lore, that Sparky is actually like the last demon that has a contract on Liliana.
Well, you saw. Did you see that that poor planeswalker that Garrett killed finally got a story?
No.
You know, the guy with blue eyes that Garrett killed in the like cinematic clip for M15.
I do not remember this, but I will believe you. I was not in that deep then.
It was I think it was in the Planeswalker video game, the console game. Like Garrett just like kills
someone.
Yeah, and he got a card in Commander Masters and a little story blurb. Vronos, I think was his name.
Oh man.
Yep.
But we're gonna find out that Sparky is actually secretly Sparky is the Raven Man. Like, he's just gonna be this whole like. There we go. There you go. Maybe we should just we should just have a spot in Discord for Sparky fan fiction.
Sparky fan fiction.
Or Sparky lore.
Keep it PG.
Like, please. Please. I don't want to see a bunch of playmats to get people kicked out of tournaments.
I don't want to have to kick you out of Discord.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you please take this post to Reddit? That seems more appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. Only Sparky.
But yeah, so like Necro, like all these things that are like pay life, get something, sack your creatures, get something.
Yep.
There's not like a discard cards get something. No, there is. There's Cadaverous Bloom.
Yep.
It would like let you discard
Yeah, I mean
cards
that
for
was a gold
mana.
card, but
It was green black, but like it kind of felt like getting rid of your cards was black and getting paid off with mana was green.
Chain of Smog.
Chain of Smog, discard cards to like copy the spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a number of things that are just like give up a resource, get another resource. Just shuffle cards around.
Yep.
All right.
Is there anything else that we missed as far as black goes for
I've not gone through the big thing of everything black does, but this feels like most of the stuff I think of like black doing.
Yeah.
I will say that like black planeswalkers are like often the quintessential boring 5-mana planeswalker design. Like it's like the Ob Nixilis.
Draw a card, kill a thing, ultimate.
Yeah. Like that kind of design. Like they play with it sometimes. Like Lolth was like draw a card for 0.
Yeah.
Make things to block.
Yeah.
And like the new Ashiok is like draw a card, make a blocker, somehow win the game.
Yeah.
But like that is kind of almost the textbook black card design.
Yeah. Black planeswalker design, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, here's a thing that black does that like no other color does that's super annoying.
What's that?
It punishes you for playing the game. So, hey, I would like to draw a card. Well, Underworld Dream says you take a damage. Shieldred says you take 2.
Yeah.
Bowmaster says you take... Like, blue will stop you from drawing the card, or white will stop you from drawing a card. But, like, black, like, with Shieldred and, like, Underworld Dreams is kind of the only... And I think there's an Ob Nixilis alt that does this. Is, like, the only, like, color that's like, oh, did you draw the mandatory first card of your turn?
Yeah.
Guess what? Take some damage. Yeah. How you like me now?
That's true.
Right? Like,
isn't there's like a red card that punishes for untapping though, isn't there?
Maybe.
I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing.
Like here's a mandatory thing you have to do.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Wait, no, crap. Let's get rid of Shadow Prophecy and Scryfall and then try this again.
And I guess that's like also, we talked about white taxing you. I guess this is black's way of taxing you. Except instead of paying mana, you're paying life, and you don't have a choice either. You're just gonna do it.
I'm drawing my card.
Yeah.
Thank you. But that is a thing that is kind of like uniquely black. Like white will make you pay mana and make it harder for you to play the game.
Yeah.
Black's just like you're just participating in the steps.
You're gonna bleed.
You're going to bleed. Exactly.
Yeah. And I guess that's also kind of another thing is black is also about making you bleed. Like there's a whole bunch of things that are deal a damage every turn, or your favorite, was it Revenge of Ravens?
Oh God.
Like there's multiple versions of that card where it's like every upkeep you lose a life, you sacrifice a creature, you discard a card, you taxing your opponent for doing something every turn. Not taxing, but making them pay.
Dealing them damage for doing a thing that they kind of have to do anyway.
Yeah. And we've gotten quite a few different ones over the years for limited.
It seems like they're leaning into the like draw a card, take damage thing. Like Bowmasters punishes your extra draw.
Right. Shieldred punishes all
Shieldred
draws.
punishes draws. Underworld. So we've gotten Underworld Dreams in Theros.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's a reprint.
That's an old card. Yeah. As an old card, but like from like recently Theros.
Yeah.
Shieldred. And now Bowmaster's kind of all in like a 4-year span.
Yeah.
Like it's feeling like that's a part of black they're trying to lean into.
Yeah. Does Opposition Agent fall into this camp too?
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, you're not forced to search, but yeah, kind of the same thing. Like the argument I have for including it here is because it has flash. Like if you're tutoring for something, you probably don't have the option when you flash opposition agent in.
Exactly. Demonic Tutor on the stack,
Right.
flash in opposition agent. Well,
Right.
it resolves.
Yeah.
I guess you now get to search for my thing.
Yeah.
That is another thing. Like, you know, I'm sure if we went like deep in the color thing, like flash used to not be a black thing,
No, flash is
but,
definitely a black thing. I don't know if it's
but
on
it's
the
not.
list here, but
But it is a black thing now. But I
yeah.
think it's further down as like a secondary or tertiary thing.
Yeah,
Because like I
maybe.
think like the one of the first black cards was from like with flash was from like Ixalan. It was some pirate
Okay.
that,
Yeah,
that
it's
like needed
secondary and black.
secondary in black.
Although I guess
Yeah,
destroy all creatures is secondary and black also. And card
yeah, but
draw.
like there weren't like I don't feel like there were a lot of black flash creatures like before
Yeah, there
uh
might not have been. And you mentioned Ixalan, but I think Ikoria was where like Black Flash kind of really took off.
yeah. There's 68 cards with flash in black.
Yeah.
Well, some of those are flashback. But like um but like you've got like Blacklands Paragon, which was from Throne.
Mhm.
Uh I guess there's oh gosh, Blessing of Leeches, which is an enchantment from what's it called? Kamigawa
Okay.
or Betrayers. But like here's Blood Crazed Paladin, a
Mhm.
1/1 that got a +1/+1 counter for each creature that died. But like that's uh kind of like where flash in black creatures started at least.
Yeah.
And it's usually like, hey, like it has death touch, so it flashes in, or like it gets cheaper if something died.
Yeah.
Or Ikoria's oh hey, did something take damage this turn? Whatcha?
Yeah.
Now it's dead. Flash in this creature. But it's a more recent development on creatures,
Mhm.
I think.
Yep.
Because like, I think Ixalan was like the first one, and I was like, I distinctly remember being like, this really isn't a black thing. Like this is like a blue and like kind of green thing.
Yeah. And Wizard said,
Like
"Hold my
what?
beer."
Yeah, like what? Why is black getting this?
Yeah.
Um. So all right, what is black bad at?
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier. Black can destroy pretty much anything except for artifacts.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent, enchantments. Like Black never used to be able to handle enchantments. That's kind of a recent development, but it still can't deal with artifacts.
There's one card.
There's one card that kills artifacts.
Mm-hmm. Uh, it is really old. Uh, so let's see here. I know what I'm looking for. Mm, there's a lot of like non-artifact. There it is. Is this it? Yeah, there you go. Speaking of like greatness at any cost, Phyrexian Tribute
Okay.
from Mirage. 2 and a black for a sorcery. Sacrifice 2 creatures. Destroy target artifact.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a bad deal.
Yeah, it sounds like an awful deal.
3 for
I
1.
mean, yeah, there's a lot of black removal that specifically says like
Non-artifact.
destroy target non-artifact creature
Yeah.
or destroy non-black non-artifact
Yeah.
because it's spooky
Yep.
and it's not going to scare itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the enchantment thing was like the community pushed back on enchantments being something black can deal with.
Yeah.
And Mara was like, "Oh, we needed to make another color that could deal with enchantments because there were only 2, and everything else has 3." And it's like, we could have just left the game alone. Like, it could have just been
Quit messing with
like,
it.
yeah, it could have just been like, okay, fine. I guess we don't get to kill enchantments in black.
So here's a put your tinfoil hat on real quick. How much of that you think is because of Commander? Like they're trying to
100%. It's all of it. It's
Yeah,
all about
I don't
Commander.
think they ever would have worried about it if it wasn't for trying to make the colors even for Commander.
Yes, I think it was like people. I am sure that a lot of people in their little survey
Yeah.
complained that they could not remove enchantments in black, or their black red deck can't remove enchantments. So by putting
I
a little
actually
bit of
mean like a little bit broader than that. Like I kind of get the feeling that like maybe people weren't complaining about not being able to kill enchantments in their mono black deck, but people were complaining about the color pie not being equal. And like
yeah, like
I think
why?
that matters more to a lot of commander players than like
Yeah,
specifically black enchantment
like
removal.
maybe like why is it that white removes enchantments and green removes enchantments, but there's not a third color?
Right.
But like artifacts are red, red, green, and white.
Yeah.
So like, why is it that there are a third
Right.
for enchantments? So they were like black.
Yeah. Sure.
Like sure, like black again. Black can do anything if you pay enough life
That's right.
or sacrifice enough creatures.
Anything at a cost.
Anything at a cost. So like, as opposed to being like blue, you get to blow up enchantments now. They're just like, black, you can do it.
Yep.
Um, it black also for the longest time, black kind of had like some like its cheaper creatures were kind of medium.
Yeah.
They were usually on the smaller side. Sometimes they were sticky, like the skeletons and stuff, but they were usually smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they were bigger, Carnophage.
Yeah.
Right, like it would deal damage to you. It's like a 1 mana 2/2 that was like you take 2 a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know if you've watched the Saffron Olive Black Burn videos.
Not in a long time.
But Sleeper Agent, which I just think is a hilarious card.
Sleeper Agent. I don't think I know that one.
It's black for a 3/3. It's from Urza's Saga.
Oh yeah.
When it comes into play, you give it to your opponent, and it deals them 2 damage each upkeep.
Yep.
But like typically, black creatures are usually smaller.
Right.
They have the big demons that typically have a drawback, but then like their other creatures are usually a little bit smaller. And black also has a propensity for like 3 and 4 mana creatures that are like 4/2s that are really good at trading off and filling the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but they don't have a lot of like 2/4s.
Shieldred says holding the beer.
Yeah, Shieldred's like I'm a 4/5. I got all this covered.
That's right.
But like think about the number of like common like like 4/2s that like for 4 mana that when they die something happens.
Yeah.
Right, that they're like built to trade off.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of black stuff is built to trade off. There's a lot of like on death triggers in black.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like what was the Scorpion from Ixalan? Like when it dies, you drain 2.
Oh yeah. Serrated Scorpion, the 1 mana 1/2.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like I guess we're a little biased in terms of like what black is bad at as people who like have played a number of black decks over the years.
A number, meaning most of them.
Most of them, yeah. Like maybe like sometimes you get a little too greedy with using your life total.
Well,
So
so
you fly a little too close to the sun.
We're kind of aiming this series at a newer player, right?
Fair.
I think for a newer player, trading your life for a resource can be a pretty scary thing. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know how to manage it correctly, it can definitely be a downside, which I would consider a weakness.
Fair.
Now, somebody that has a little bit more experience with the game and knows what are good trades and what are not good trades, that's not as big a deal for, in which case it's probably not a weakness, it's a strength. But that's why I included this in weakness, because like I said, we're specifically kind of gearing this towards teaching people what the different colors can do. So
yeah, like
be leery.
The first few times you play Death Shadow, you will just kill yourself because you go a little too hard and get your life total a little too low, a little too fast.
Yep.
But then like as you learn to like where's that sweet spot where your 1 mana 5/5 is still good, but you're not like dead to a bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you can then have enough life to function with the rest of your deck.
Right.
Then you're like, then that's kind of like you kind of grow into that.
I have also certainly lost to my Bob trigger.
Oh yeah. The only upside of Bob being basically unplayable now is you no longer have the fights at tournaments of like you didn't
Oh
reveal
yeah,
your Bob card.
yeah,
Yeah, like all the time.
yeah.
All the time. Uh but like black is generally a pretty well-rounded color.
Hmm.
Like other than the like artifact and now smaller enchantment hole.
Right.
Like it typically has like aggressive enough costed creatures
Hmm.
and enough enough interaction like
Hmm.
with your hand and with creatures like or the board
Yep.
to like keep you in most games. And like so like think of discard in black kind of like counter spells in blue.
Hmm.
Right? They deal with a thing like before it ever has a chance to resolve. Though the difference is black, you're paying mana
Right.
to do the discard before they've paid the mana on the spell.
The difference is tempo. In black,
Yeah.
you're losing tempo. In blue, hopefully you're gaining tempo. They do definitely both do the same thing.
Mm.
The I think the difference between, like, if we're comparing counter spells to discard, targeted discard, is that you can, it's a lot easier to ruin somebody's plan with a thought seize than it is with a counter spell.
Hmm.
Like
Right,
a
because like
smart player can play around a counter spell. Um, they're probably not going to play around a thought seize on turn one.
yeah, like you take their they don't have a turn one play, you take their turn two play, and now they're not doing anything for the
Or
first.
whatever they're, like, you can see their hand is obviously setting up, a turn four, turning the corner or whatever, and you take that from them, and then their deck
And
just dirtles.
yeah, and the information that you get allows you to sculpt how you're going to play. Like, oh,
Right.
I can like play this creature to trade with the creature in their hand and hold this removal spell for the thing I know I had. Like, I know they have, you know, a Baneslayer Angel. I have to keep my Doom Blade for it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Good, honest 2000 core like 14 magic.
Yeah. Your Shieldred's Edict.
Yeah, but like you get the information and then are
Right.
allowed to kind of like build your game around that.
Yeah.
So,
I think black is also a color that plays well with other colors,
mhm,
because partly because it's so well rounded, and partly because it's not too hard to pick a color that fills in its weaknesses. Um, Blue decks tend to be a lot of blue.
mhm,
White decks tend to be a lot of white, and things with black I think are like typically pretty well balanced. Like Golgari has, those decks are pretty evenly
mhm,
split, and I, I guess I'm not 100% sure about Scam. Well, that deck's pretty evenly split
mhm.
too. Um,
It's a little bit heavier on the black because of all
yeah,
of the
yeah,
like bad undying effects, but
yeah. But black plays really well with other colors. It's a great support color. Um, so
kind
for
of
whatever
like
that's worth.
why are you blue white? Well, white has removal and blue has card advantage and counter spells.
Yep.
Why are you blue black? Well, I get counter spells and card advantage in blue. I get all of my removal in black, but then I also have the ability to mess with my opponent's hand
Right.
in black, and then again accrue that knowledge to go like, oh, I don't want to counterspell their 2-drop. I want to like take a hit from it because I know their 3-drop's really good, and I'll hold my counterspell for that.
Right. The tempo you would lose on your discard spell, you can make up with your counter spell at that
Mhm.
point.
I mean, the 6th most played deck at the Pro Tour was Dimir Control.
Yep.
So you have like these, like it does fit together. It's like if you can give me cards, I can kill your stuff.
Hmm. Well, think about
So,
like iconic decks, right? Like just think
mhm,
about all-time great iconic decks. Like Fairies is probably up there
mhm,
as far as, well-known, a deck people really liked, and that was a blue black tempo control deck.
mhm. I mean, Rogues
Yep. Yeah,
is that
Rogues too.
same kind of thing where like it has, good-ish creatures or like creatures that synergize well together.
Yep.
Discard, removal, and counter spells.
Yep.
And it's just I just need some stuff to like win the game with, and these nerds have flash, so I never have to make a decision.
Well, it's not that you never have to make a decision, but you can make your decision with the most amount of information possible.
Yeah. I never have to tap out.
Right.
Right. Like I never have to tap out on my turn.
Yep.
I just get to wait and then be like, okay, now I know what they've committed to do. I can figure out what is best for me to do in response. But yeah, so like those are, but they're kind of like similar, like fairies and rogues. Like when people play rogues, they're just like chasing that fairy high,
basically.
Right? Like, oh, is this the new fairies?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Like,
probably Rogues is pretty good.
Rogues is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, whatever the like weird Nighthawk scavenger, vampire Nighthawk, not vampire Nighthawk. Is it Nighthawk scavenger?
Nighthawk scavenger. Yeah.
The star 3.
Yeah.
That's not doing it. They need to give them another like flash rogue. Not that I want to play against that deck, but like that card is not it.
Yeah. Well, I said was good. Rogues was good. I don't know that it's still good, but it had its day.
I mean, it's still annoying.
Yeah.
When you like renew it in the queue.
Yeah.
But yeah, so by and large, like black is a pretty well-rounded color. Like if you were gonna like start playing, like black kind of like is a good place to start. Like it doesn't have any glaring like hole.
Well, that's kind of what I was just going to ask you to close this episode out. Is black the most well-rounded color?
I mean, green exists.
Yeah.
So like I like green gets bigger creatures, like kind of
green gets more efficient creatures.
More efficient creatures.
Well, green gets the most efficient creatures.
It has card advantage. Kind of built in either on its creatures or like in weird things that say either draw a card or not quite draw a card.
Yeah.
But still get a card in your hand. It requires you to have creatures, but it has like efficient like fight spell type removal. Like green has often been the best color in Magic in Standard in the last few years. And like black currently has that like crown.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think green is up there.
Yeah.
So I think green and black might be, and green doesn't have like.
I think
green's. Okay, go ahead.
I think you're being jaded by green's ramp. Ramp plugs a lot of holes and fixes a lot of problems.
Fair.
Like if it wasn't for ramp, I don't think green is as well rounded as black is. And like what you were just talking about, a lot of when green has been the best deck in Standard, it's on the back of ramp. Whereas I think black is just like generally more rounded. You know, jack of all trades, master of none. Green is really good, like you said. And we'll talk about green when we get to green, but it's really good when it has its creatures, and it's not so good when it doesn't have its creatures.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So with all that, I think we got a show. So, again, if you want to reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, Elon Forever.
That's right.
You can check us out there. Again, Discord is where we probably answer the most.
Yeah.
And
hit us up.
Yeah. Hit us up. Let us know what you think.
Yep. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Head on over there, make your purchases, and you'll support us at the same time, not costing you an extra penny. If you want to support us more directly, Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG, where you get access to our show notes. You get access to a whole nother show out of us with our pre-show, even if it's completely random and not scripted or edited at all. Our patrons like it, so maybe you will too. And patrons also get put on our mailing list for when I have stuff to send out. Again, patrons, if there's tokens that you want, let me know. Non-patrons, if there's tokens that might convince you to chip in and support the show, you can let me know as well. I'll see what I can do about getting them made for the next round of, well, not the next round of give backs, but the one after that. Yeah, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip a couple bucks in and help keep the show going.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.